The sportswear market, after years of rapid growth and innovation, is entering a new stage. And there will be more intense competition than ever to win what is now very mature demand. And that will force brands and consumer companies to focus on specific needs for differing generations to win in tomorrow's market.
With that in mind, who is winning right now, and will the choices that they've made to be where they are at the top right now be enough to see them through over the next 5 years and beyond?
Yeah, so I think there's a mix here of who's winning in the market is the set of challenger brands. It's not about a single brand, but the research we've just run of if you look at the top 15 sportswear brands, their share of the market has decreased by almost 10% over the last decade. And many of them are still just US specific, but there are many brands that are up and coming. Whether they will continue to be successful from a challenger brand, I think will continue to be how culturally relevant do they stay and how much do they stick with a for purpose mindset. And so the top brands are still deeply embedded in many of the activities and things that they were known for and made them top 15 brands and have a right to win tomorrow, just like some of the up and coming challenger brands do, and which of them differentiate more on the future needs.
What do you mean a full purpose mindset?
Well, now in sportswear, to our conversation of how the market has evolved, you can be a brand that's all about performing your best in the moments that matter, for really being a brand that is about quote unquote winning. There's also a real play in this world where health, wellness, longevity, mental health become massive trends. A brand that is focused on supporting those communities, has influencers within those communities, and deeply ingrains their events and experiences in those communities. Those two are very different. And then there's a third that is actually just about having the best comfort when you're on the go and bringing the benefits of sportswear into your everyday life. And again, that's a third very different purpose or focus or need that a brand can be known for. And so it will be about brands that really keep that at the center of what differentiates them. And they'll still have categories and other products around that. It doesn't mean they can't compete in other categories, but they need to be authentic to what they are known for at the end of the day.
What does the research tell us about generations and what they want, how they're being served?
Yeah, well, I think so much of what athleisure and sportswear as it's mixed with fashion is almost thought of now as what's the next on-trend brand? What is the next need? And what we see is it just becomes very different based on which generation of what they want. If you are Gen Z today, they want the on-trend fit and the on-trend colors, which is different than millennials who want the most comfortable thing in the most classic silhouettes that fit their just general lifestyle needs. And that's also different a little bit from what is now the largest buyers of sportswear and athleisure, which is Gen X and boomers, who are looking for more functional benefits for their day-to-day lifestyle.
So how do you serve Gen X boomers, their comfort, their support needs, while I think I've heard it say keeping a Gen Z style halo?
Well, in some ways, you might not have to go across every generation. There will be, we often refer to them as demand spaces. It's not about just picking a specific consumer. It's about picking a type of occasion or need. And some of those will skew heavily to a generation, but not completely to a generation. And if you take certain examples of low impact activities like walking, it's still the number one activity for every single one of the generations. Yet all the innovation is on running shoes, which are designed for high impact activities and supporting your needs. So there's ways to make the best, most comfortable walking shoe that probably resonates across all three of those populations. The brand halo you mentioned is if you are trying to be a on-trend brand and have the most culturally relevant fashion factor, Gen Z is where that starts today. And what Gen Z decides is on trend will usually at least extend into the millennial generation that wants to stay relevant, wants to stay on trend as much as possible. And so you can serve across these different generations, but it really comes back to what's the need or the specific type of demand, and how prevalent does that span each of those generations we're discussing.